Looks like big bad boy Brenton Diaz will be watching the World Cup from home unless something marvellous happens this coming match day. We'll take a look at it in South America, and it's coming at you next. Prediction video today. We're forward to the final World Cup qualifying games over in South America, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new, smash your subscribe to get you back today. All things World Cup related, blah 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 related, World Cup qualifying, and in South America related. We got it all here under one rooski. Yes, it's still possible for Chile and big bad boy Brenton Diaz to make the World Cup, but of course they're going to have to do it the very, very difficult way. And I'll tell you how they can do it in a minute. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They're the Patreons, guys. Thank you for loving, of course, behind the scenes. You know who you are. But anyway, let's have a look at how everything panned out last time around then. So here we go with the recap of the results. It is the CONMEBOL, and it is right here, right now. So Uruguay picked up a good result against Peru. I think there was a goal disallowed or a ghost goal that didn't count, which would have made it a draw in the end. But anyway, that win puts Uruguay in the driving seat in fourth. That's an automatic berth there. They are going as it stands. And in fact, they are there. They're there. They're 4 points clear of Peru, so they are there with Ecuador, Argentina, and Brazil. So those four are there, but who's in that fifth spot? Of course, still anybody's guess. Colombia picked up a result with 3-0 win over Bolivia. Brazil smashed past Chile in the end. Chile were holding firm, but I think once they got that goal conceded, the heads dropped. Paraguay, of course, with a big win over Ecuador, but of course, Ecuador are already home and host. And Argentina with a 3-0 win over Ecuador as well, Venezuela as well. So, as you can see from the table, top four is decided. Fifth spot goes to a playoff. That's right. And of course, if you land lucky, you get New Zealand or somebody, you might make it through anyway. But Peru sit in that spot, 21 points. Of course, Chile are 2 points adrift in seventh spot, and of course Colombia are in the middle there with 20 points. So three teams, of course, compete for the one spot. And of course, the games do not favour Chile at this stage, of course. But let's take a look at the course of prediction league. Here you go. Well done, Shane O'Donnell. 5 bins there. Well done to you, sir. Smashing it there, of course. But what about the mini leaderboard? Here you go. It is Hansworth, 30 points to the board. Iman Estate. And then Shane O'Donnell, of course. Well, how many games do we have left? 5 left. So realistically, it's between the top 2, I'd say. And then, of course, Winky and Shane O'Donnell would need snookers or dramatic effects as well. That's the link. Get involved with it. So these are the games. Of course, Chile take on Uruguay. That's the one for me. Peru against Paraguay. If Peru were to lose. And, of course, if Colombia were to lose or draw or something like that, if there's draws involved, then you just don't know. And they all kick off at the same time, so who'd know? Who would know? Anyway, let's take a look at Peru up against Paraguay. Let's take a look at their chances now then. So as we look at the data now, these two sides have played together 17 times since 2003. 9 wins for Peru, 5 wins for Paraguay, and 3 draws. Of course, Peru's biggest win over Paraguay was 4-1 win. The biggest win was a 2-1 win. In fact, Peru scored 28 goals compared to Paraguay's 18 over the course of those 17 games. Works out around about, what are we looking at? 1.65 goals game ratio for Peru, a 1.06 goals game ratio for Paraguay. And of course, Peru just 1 defeat past 6 for them, 67% form, just 1 win. And the last 6 for Paraguay, that's 25% form for them at the moment. Last time I played that in Peru was a 1-0 win for Peru back in March 2019. It was a friendly. The reverse fixture in Paraguay was a 2-2 draw back in October, of course. Meanwhile, of course, Peru coming to this on the back of that loss against Uruguay. And of course, Paraguay picked up a 3-1 win over Ecuador, a morale-boosting win as well. So maybe, just maybe, that could feed the beast. That is Paraguay to get the results. I have odds on this one. Peru are actually 20-11 on. They are favoured for the victory, and a win gets them through, I think. 14-5 is your draw, and 55-1 is your long shot, is Paraguay. As much as I want this to go the way of Chile, I don't think it will. 1-0 win in the end for Peru, which of course pretty much game over, you would imagine anyway. That's my take on it. Of course, next, of course, we have Ecuador up against Argentina. Let's take a look at this one then, shall we now? Over in Ecuador, both these two nations will be in Qatar 2022. We'll talk about that in a minute. Of course, played the 15 times, 2004, 3 wins to Ecuador, 8 wins to Argentina, and 4 draws, of course. Ecuador, though, without a win in 4 now, 58% form for them. Just 1 defeat past 6, though, drawing a lot of games at the moment. Meanwhile, Argentina just won, they unbeaten in the last 30 games. Wow, we were 92% form for them at the moment. Could it be a fruity World Cup for Argentina and Messi, of course? Oh, wow, we were. Of course, Argentina's biggest win over Ecuador, 6-1 win. The biggest win over was a 2-0 win. In fact, Ecuador scored 14 goals compared to Argentina's 30 over the course of those 15 games. Works out around about 0.93 goals game ratio for Ecuador, around about 2 goals game ratio for Argentina. Last time played over in Ecuador was a 3-1 win for Argentina back in October 2017. The reverse fixture in Argentina was a 1-0 win way back in October 2020. Meanwhile, Ecuador picking up a 3-1 loss against Paraguay. Last win for them was a 2-0 win over Chile, of course. Meanwhile, Argentina picked up a 3-0 win over Venezuela, and they made a back-to-back clean sheets for them as well. The odds here, of course, Ecuador 11-5 for the Irish, 11-5 for sure, 5-4 is your Argentina on this one. I fancy something here, a little bit wrong. Going to go with a draw myself. Ecuador picking up the point. Of course, Argentina will remain unbeaten heading into, of course, the prep for Qatar 2022. Venezuela up against Colombia. That's right, coming at you at Venezuela now. These two sides have played each other 17 times 2003. 5 wins for Venezuela, 7 wins for Colombia, and 5 draws. Just 1 win in the last 6 for Venezuela right now, 17% form up against the Colombia side. 1-2 lost to the last 4, 42% form for them at the moment. Biggest win for Venezuela over Colombia, 2-0 win. The biggest win was a 3-0 win. In fact, Colombia scored 11 goals compared to Venezuela scored 11 goals compared to Colombia's 18 over the course of those 17 games. Works out around about 0.65 goals game ratio for Venezuela and 1.6 goals game ratio for Colombia. Meanwhile, coming at you last time in Venezuela was a 2-1 win for Colombia. That was back in, of course, September 2018. The reverse fixture in Colombia was a 3-0 win for Colombia back in October. Colombia picking up a 3-0 win over Bolivia. Of course, big win for them last time. Of course, Venezuela losing 3-0 to Argentina have been on the receiving end of heavy defeats back to back now. Of course, Venezuela 7-2 for the victory, 10-7 on is your Colombia, and 14-5 is your draw. Again, I want snookers here. I've gone with a 2-2 draw, which could be enough for Chile to leapfrog Colombia into that 6th spot, which you never know. I don't know what I'll do. Speaking of Chile, they're taking on Uruguay, of course, in Santiago, maybe. I don't know. They're going to be taking place at San Carlos de Apoquindo, of course. Played each other 15 times to the other 3. 4 wins for Chile, 6 wins for Uruguay, and 5 draws. 1-2 lost to the last 6 for Chile right now, 42% form up against the Uruguay side, who've won 3 in the bouts. They've hit form at the right time. The biggest win for Chile over Uruguay was a 3-1 win. The biggest win was a 4-0 win. Of course, Chile have scored just 16 goals compared to Uruguay's 20 over the course of those 15 games. Works out around about 1.33 goals game ratio for Uruguay, or around about 1.07 goals game ratio for Chile. Of course, Chile coming to this on the back of in fact, the last time around in Chile, it was a 3-1 win for Chile back in November 2016. The reverse fixture in Uruguay was a 1-1 draw. 2-1 win for Uruguay back in October 2020. Uruguay coming into this on the back of that win over Peru. 1-0 win it was, and of course Chile with a 4-0 drubbing by Brazil last time around. The odds here, 13-10 is your Chile, 23-10 is your draw, and 21-10 is your Uruguay here. I'm backing, of course, Chile to win this one, but it's not going to be enough. When you look at the grand scheme of things, Peru will have enough, and of course Chile might have enough to get into 6th spot, but of course we'll see about that. And next, of course, we have Bolivia up against Brazil themselves over in Bolivia. Now these two sides, of course, played each other 10 times in 1930. Just 1 win for Bolivia, 6 wins for Brazil, and 3 draws, of course. 3 defeats on the spin for Bolivia right now, 33% form up against the Brazil side, who are unbeaten in the last 24 games, of course, 1-4 and drawn 2 of the last 6. 83% form for them as well. The biggest win for Bolivia over Brazil, 2-1 win. The biggest win for Brazil over Bolivia was a 5-0 win, and Brazil have scored 26 goals compared to Bolivia's 4 over the course of those 10 games. Works out at 0.4 goals game ratio for Bolivia, a 2.6 goals game ratio for Brazil. Last time picture in Bolivia was a 0-0 draw way back in, of course, October 2017. The reverse fixture in Brazil was a 5-0 win for Brazil back in October. So Brazil haven't conceded the goal in the last 5 games against Bolivia. Meanwhile, Bolivia picking up a 3-0 loss against Colombia, and Brazil with a 4-0 win over Chile last round in back-to-back games without conceding a goal, and scored 8 goals without return as well. The odds here, though, 11-2 is your Bolivia, 2-1 on is your Brazil, and 3-1 is your draw. I think Brazil will clean up with another win and remain unbeaten as they exit the World Cup qualifying phase into Qatar 2022 this coming winter. That's, of course, my pickaroos on it. Boys, make sure you get your own pickaroos as well. WC22 CONMEBOL. That is it. Of course, join me live, though, Friday. We'll do in the World Cup reaction draw. Live. Of course, we'll look at the teams, of course, who qualified. We'll see where your South African nations have landed and see if there's any interesting groups of death that await us. That's it, my friends. Smash the thumbs up, smash your subscribe, check the links down below. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Patreon. But until then, boys, we're done. All right, about that.